biodistribution, gadolinium contrast agents, types of gadolinium contrast agents, gadolinium containing contrast agents approved for human use, liver contrast agents, other contrast agents, negative contrast agents, side effects of MRI contrast, allergic reactions, nephrogenic systemic fibrosis, contraindication. So first we will start with introduction. So in this introduction, I will be telling you about what is a contrast material. This you might all be knowing. Contrast materials, also called contrast agents or the contrast media, are used to improve pictures of the inside of the body, produced by X-rays, computed tomography, magnetic resonance imaging, and ultrasound. So we can say contrast materials are those agents which improves the body structures. As we all know, X-rays pass through the body and we could see the image, but by giving the contrast material, the image is improved and we get to know the pathology or any obstruction we get to know with the help of the contrast materials. Contrast materials allow the radiologist to distinguish normal from abnormal conditions. So this help us to, as I already told, this help us to detect the pathology. So contrast materials differentiate between the normal condition and the abnormal condition. They are substances that temporarily change the way X-rays or other imaging tools interact with the body. So we can say that they are not the, we also say the contrast materials are the dyes, but these are not the permanent dyes that they give the permanent color. No, it is not so. It gives the color, changes the color or changes the way X-rays or our CT or MR imaging is passing through the body, and it changes the attenuation of the X-rays and gives us the image. So these are the temporary changes. Till the time contrast is there in the body, we could see the change. As the contrast passes, excretes out or through the body, we cannot see the changes. So these are the contrast material. Now further moving, we would like to know about MRI contrast agents. MRI contrast agents are a group of contrast media which are used to improve the visibility of internal body structures in magnetic resonance imaging. MRI contrast agents are different from X-ray contrast agents. As we all know, MRI doesn't use the ionizing radiation. There we use the magnetic field and the non-ionizing radiation. So we cannot use the contrast agents which are being used in the X-rays. So we have different category of MRI contrast agents. These contrast agents are particularly developed for the magnetic resonance imaging. These are widely used to increase the contrast difference between normal and abnormal tissue. This is the most common feature of the contrast media. The most commonly used compounds for contrast enhancement are gadolinium base. The most commonly we used in MRI is the gadolinium based contrast agent. For the gadolinium based contrast agent, we will be studying in the later slides. MRI contrast agents have become an indispensable part of contemporary magnetic resonance imaging. We know MRI gives the images of the soft tissues, and we know earlier it was considered that the MRI can diagnose the problem without the contrast agent. But later on, it was clarified that the contrast agents gives us the more visible and clear image. So the contrast agents are being used nowadays. MRI was initially hoped to provide a means of making definitive diagnosis without administering contrast media. It has been found that the addition of contrast agents in many cases improves sensitivity or specificity. This is I already told that earlier it was said that without administering contrast media we get the particular definitive diagnosis, but later on it was found that the contrast, if we are giving contrast agent, then the sensitivity or specificity of the organs or the tissues are increased and we get a more clarified image. MRI contrast agents alter the relaxation times of atoms within body tissues where they are present after oral or intravenous administration. So how the MRI contrast agents work in the body? MRI contrast agents work by altering the relaxation times. As we all know, MRI is dependent on the relaxation times of the protons. So, as the relaxation times of the protons of the tissue where we have given the contrast media changes, the visualization of the MRI contrast agent in that particular tissue is visualized on the screen. So we can give this MRI contrast agent by oral means or IV means. Most clinically used MRI contrast agents work to shortening the T1 relaxation time of protons located nearby. As I told earlier, that it works by changing the relaxation time of the atoms. So basically, in MRI contrast agents, the T1 relaxation time is being shortened. That is, the longitudinal relaxation is being shortened of the protons which are present nearby where the contrast agent is present. T1 shortens with an increase in rate of stimulated emission from high energy state to low energy state. We all know in MRI when we give the magnetic field or radio frequency, so the all the protons spins to the different state, that is the high energy state, from the low energy state to the high energy state. So when they return back from the high energy to the low energy, that is called the relaxation. So when this time is different without the contrast media, that relaxation time, returning of the protons from the high energy state to low energy state, is different in non-contrast MRI imaging and it is different in contrast MRI imaging. So in contrast MRI imaging, when we give the contrast, the protons which are at a high energy states returns to low energy states with an increased rate. That is, we can say कि वो बहुत कम टाइम लेते हैं हाई एनर्जी स्टेट से लो एनर्जी स्टेट में आने में, जिसकी वजह से T1 का जो टाइमिंग है वो शॉर्ट हो जाता है एज कम्पेयर टू जब हम कंट्रास्ट नहीं दे रहे. यही फिनोमिना और यही प्रिंसिपल है जो पूरा कंट्रास्ट MRI कंट्रास्ट एजेंट में वर्क करता है. टू एनहांस द इनहेरेंट कंट्रास्ट बिटवीन टिश्यू, MRI contrast must alter rate of relaxation of the proton within tissue. This is being told earlier. If we want to change the contrast between tissues, so MRI contrast have to change the relaxation of the proton within the tissue. The tissue which we want to see, the relaxation rate of the protons of that tissue needs to be changed. So then only we can change the difference in the contrast of that tissue. Relaxation must vary for different tissues in order to produce differential enhancement of signal. As we all know, all the tissues have different functions and their composition is somewhat different. So for every tissue, the relaxation rate must change. For one tissue, we have some relaxation. If we have X relaxation rate, for the other, we should have the Y. Only then we can see the changes in the signal, and we can differentiate both the tissues contrast. MRI contrast agent must exert a large magnetic field density. Magnetic field density is a property imparted by the unpaired electron to interact with the magnetic movement of proton in the tissue and shorten their relaxation time. The electron magnetic movement also causes the local change in magnetic field, promoting more rapid proton dephasing and shortens the relaxation time. Agents with unpaired electron pair spins used as MRI contrast agent. In MRI contrast agents, we use the contrast agents which have the unpaired electron pair spins. So this is an image where we can see the image of a brain. On the left, we have the image before giving contrast, that is no contrast is being given, and an MRI image has been captured. And the second image on the right is the after giving the contrast, that by means of the intravenous administration. So we can see the brain metastasis on this is the T1 image. As I can say that only the contrast images are being shown on the T1 as the T1 relaxation time is being shortened. So we can see the difference in the no contrast image. We cannot see the brain metastasis, but after giving the contrast, we can clearly see the brain metastasis on T1 MRI image. So now moving on to the classification, MRI can be classified into two groups, paramagnetic and the other is super paramagnetic. The paramagnetic contrast agents are usually made from dysprosium, the lanthanide metal gadolinium, or the transition metal manganese. The most commonly used is the gadolinium, the lanthanide metal gadolinium. But all the three I have mentioned are the paramagnetic contrast agents which are being used. Paramagnetic contrast agents possess water-soluble properties, that is, they can dissolve in the water. The most commonly selected metal atom used in MRI contrast agents is the lanthanide iron gadolinium, as it possesses a high magnetic moment and it is the most stable ion with unpaired electrons. Earlier, I told you that we use the contrast agent which have the unpaired electrons. So, the lanthanide iron gadolinium has the unpaired electrons as well as it has a high magnetic moment. So, we use the lanthanide iron gadolinium the most commonly. Contrast agents containing gadolinium shorten the T1 and T2 relaxation time of neighboring water protons. Contrast agents, gadolinium, as I told you, the contrast agents shortens the T1 relaxation time, that is a longitudinal relaxation. So the contrast agents containing gadolinium has an effect on T1 as well as T2, that is only where the contrast media is present, not of the other tissues. These effects increase the signal intensity of T1 weighted image and reduce the signal intensity of T2 weighted image. T1 shortening occurs at lower gadolinium concentration, whereas T2 shortening occurs at higher gadolinium concentration. We will get everywhere, we will get that by the MRI contrast agent, T1 shortening occurs, but very less places it is mentioned that T2 shortening also occurs. It is because both the shortenings occur, T1 shortening occurs with a small amount of gadolinium. But if we give a large amount of gadolinium, T2 shortening also occurs. But T2 shortening, as the T2 shortening occurs, the signal intensity is reduced of the T2 weighted image. So we do not take the T2 weighted image into consideration. Also, as we are giving to shorten the T2 imaging, relaxation time, we are giving gadolinium in high amount, which is increasing the risk of toxicity. Later, we will get to know that what gadolinium has the effects, side effects. So, to reduce that toxicity in the patient's body, we give the gadolinium in small amount, and the T1 shortening occurs. So, we take into consideration the T1 relaxation time or the T1 weighted image. Next is the super paramagnetic. The super paramagnetic contrast agents are usually made of iron oxide particles. Contrast agents containing transition metal ions such as high-spin manganese and super paramagnetic iron oxide such as iron oxide affect the T2 relaxation strongly. In the paramagnetic, we have seen that the T1 is affected, T2 is affected on the high concentration. But in super paramagnetic, the metal ions use high spin manganese and iron oxide. These affect the T2 relaxation very strongly. And if the T2 relaxation is affected, that means the concentration of these agents are too high, which will increase the toxicity rate. So the maximum used is that the gadolinium ion, which is a paramagnetic. When applied during imaging, they reduce the intensity of T2 signals in the tissues which absorb the contrast agent. Next, we have chelates. Chelates is the most common, as we all know, MRI contrast agents use the gadolinium chelate. So before going to that, we have to know what is a chelate. Chelate means claw. Claw, as everyone know, an animal's, a pigeon's hand can be termed as a claw. Chelates surround an ion and make a cage around it. I will show you the diagram how is a chelate, and in that we have in the center we have some iron, and around it we have the other atoms which forms the cage around it. That is, the iron is captured in the cage. We can say a lion in a cage. So that center atom is the lion, and the all the other atoms are the cage. A chelate of gadolinium occupies all available space around the ion except water molecule. Water molecules exchange in and out of that spot. When in that spot, the spins have an extremely short T1. This accelerates the overall relaxation rate, shortening T1. So, as I have said, there is an ion in the center and a cage around it. So, only the water molecule is not in that cage, included in that cage. Water molecules, because if they are in that cage, then they cannot exchange. And we all know in MRI, there is the role of water molecule as the protons of the water molecule only. Hydrogen proton of the water molecule only that spins around. So in that case, water molecules exchange in and out of that spot. So through that chelate, So the spins have an extremely short T1. When the water molecule is with that chelate, we have a short T1, and due to this, the relaxation rate is changed, and it is increased, and the T1 is further decreased. That is all we need in the MRI contrast region. Gadolinium chelate, example gadopantate dimeglumine magnevist, are intravenous contrast agents used to enhance vascular structures during diagnostic magnetic resonance imaging. This is the most common gadolinium chelate which we are using to do the MRI contrast studies. This is the diagram of the gadolinium chelate. As told earlier, there is an ion, so we can see in the center we have the gadolinium ion, and the other atoms are surrounding it and forming a cage. That is, a gadolinium is being surrounded by other atoms, and we can see in the blue it is mentioned there is a water molecule. This water molecule is being exchanged in and out. So we can see this is a gadolinium chelate. Next, we have modes of contrast media administration. There are two modes of contrast media administration of MRI contrast agent. They can be injected into the bloodstream, that is intravenously or orally. Depends which area or which organ we have to study. Oral administration is mostly given to study the GI tract, while IV administration is given for other scans, for the brain scans, for uh, other scans. We can see if we have to see the hand, give the contrast into the hand, so we use the IV. For the legs we use IV, for the pelvis we use IV, but for the GI tracts, that is the gastrointestinal tracts, we give the oral administration. A variety of agents of both types enhance scans routinely. So, as we all know, contrast agents has the property of enhancing the image. So, whether it is the oral contrast agent or the IV contrast agent, both will enhance these scans. Now we have the categories of MRI contrast. MRI contrast can be categorized in many ways depending upon its chemical composition, administration route, magnetic properties, effect on the image, presence and nature of metal atoms. So we can categorize the MRI contrast on these properties, and this you can take from other side, as I have not discussed because it was in very much detail, so I have not covered that position. But the categories are, various categories are there, and we can classify that according to this. The first classification was the paramagnetic and the superparamagnetic, and this is the other category, which includes the chemical composition, administration route. The administration routes includes the IV and oral. Then we have the magnetic properties. Magnetic properties can be paramagnetic, superparamagnetic, effect on the image, how it is affecting the image, presence and nature of metal atoms. Now we have the biodistribution. The contrast agents can be divided on its biodistribution, that is, uh, and its biodistribution and its application. So we have the extracellular fluid agents, which are known as the intravenous contrast agents. Then we have the blood pool agents, which are known as the intravascular contrast agents. We have organ specific agents, that is gastrointestinal contrast agent and hepatobiliary contrast agent. These are the contrast agents which are being used just to imaging the GI tract or the hepatobiliary tract. Then we have active targeting of cell labeling agent, that is tumor specific agent. For particular tumor, we give the active targeting that actively targets at the particular tumor and gives the image. Then we have responsive agents, which are also known as smart or bioactivative. These are pH sensitive agents.